As a kid growing up in Japan, one of my favorite foods was curry rice, or lovingly called kare rice. You put a piece of katsu or fried pork or chicken on top of that, it was even better. So today I've made a vegan version of it. The recipe for the curry comes in my vegan meat cookbook, and we've used that as the base. And then we use yuba, which is the skin that forms on soy milk, as the katsu to produce kind of an all-time kids and adult favorite. This is Japanese comfort food at best. I know katsu kare is sort of a thing now in the US as well. So let me show you how to make a vegan version. All right, we're gonna start out by dicing 2 onions. And you don't have to worry about them being too uniform because it's all gonna cook down. There's a lot of veggies that actually go into this, which makes it healthier than you might think. And Japanese curry differs from Indian curries or Southeast Asian curries because they have a tad bit of sweetness that comes from adding fruit. And we're gonna add an apple to this. So I'm gonna get these onions into my pot. So we're gonna start out with about 2 tablespoons of oil. We're gonna heat that up before we add the onions. I'm gonna add some salt. So this is one of those recipes that you don't need to mise en place. In other words, chop and slice everything all at once because you can be preparing the next step while you're cooking the first. So I'm gonna put a lid on this and I'm gonna cook these until they're tender, maybe 7-8 minutes. And meanwhile, I'm gonna slice about 8 ounces of mushrooms. I'm gonna cut these bottoms off. Now we're gonna get these sliced up. Okay, we're gonna set these aside. I'm making some of the instant bouillon. I'm not using my Brilliant Bouillon. I ran out, so this is a commercial bouillon. I'm gonna need 4 cups of this. So I'm just stirring it up. It's gonna go into my blender actually. And it doesn't need to be hot. If you've got homemade vegetable stock, go ahead and use that. We just want 4 cups of some sort of stock or broth. I'm gonna add 1 apple. This will add that touch of sweetness that is very typical of Japanese curry. So I'm just gonna cut that into big chunks, make sure I've cored it. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. 1, 2. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. 1, 2. Okay, meanwhile, I'm gonna give my onions a stir. May need a couple more minutes. Here's what's important, the type of curry powder you use. This is S&B. This is really traditional. If you buy the curry roux, it's usually this particular brand. They really cornered the market on curry, and it's a different flavor profile than Indian style curry powders or Thai curries, and it's called Oriental curry powder. I don't really know why they still call it that, but we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of this. And one last thing, I'm gonna add 3 cloves of garlic. These are extra tiny cloves, so I'm adding a little bit extra. Go in with my garlic rock as usual to crush them. Okay, now we're gonna whip this up. I just wanna make sure that it's nice and smooth. And I'm gonna add to my onions, which are now finally tender, my mushrooms. Give my mushrooms a stir, and we're gonna continue sauteing that while I prep the other vegetables. So a good Japanese curry always has carrots, and I have some beautiful little carrots here. So I'm just gonna slice these up. I didn't peel them. I like to cut them on the bias. You can cut them any way you like. Nice big chunks. You want about 8 ounces, half a pound of carrots. Okay, we're gonna add some potatoes. We need about 8 ounces. And yes, you can use large potatoes and peel them, which is what the Japanese would do. These organic, beautiful baby potatoes have such a tender skin. And when you're feeling like, I don't feel like peeling potatoes, this is a good way to go. And besides, we're getting a little bit of variation in color, texture, flavor. So today we're making a katsu to go on top of the curry. So you don't necessarily need a so-called meat, but a lot of curries will either be like chicken curry or beef curry or tofu curry. We're gonna not add any so-called protein because the protein is gonna come from the katsu that we're gonna make out of yuba, which is soybean skin. Okay, when the mushrooms have started to break down like this, we're gonna now add the mixture from the blender. This is where all the flavor is. And now we're gonna add the potatoes and the carrots, and it's all gonna simmer together until the vegetables are tender. Okay, so this has to simmer away for about 20 minutes or so. And in the meantime, we'll wash and cook the rice. I have this beautiful ceramic rice pot from Kyoto, and I love to cook rice in this. It's called donabe in Japanese. And the kind of rice we're using is Japanese rice, which is sort of a medium grain rice. And this looks like it's white rice, but in reality, it's called haiga rice. Haiga is the word for germ, such as in wheat germ or rice germ. So this is a rice that's partially milled, leaving the germ intact, which means that you have the nutrients of brown rice without the husk of brown rice. So you get a more tender rice, but it's nutrient rich like brown rice. So typically rice is washed well, but they say for haiga rice not to wash it well because you want to leave the germ intact. So we're just going to rinse it really quickly. Got my water in there and I'm going to take it to the stove in the back. Okay, we're starting out with a high flame, and as soon as it comes to a boil, we're gonna turn it down as much as we can. All right, while this is simmering away, we're gonna make the roux that will thicken the curry. And that's gonna be done with about 4 tablespoons of oil and a half a cup of all-purpose flour. And we're gonna cook our roux. And I'm turning this down very, very low, and we're just gonna cook it until it gets a little whiter in color. Make sure that the flour is fully cooked before we add it to the curry. So let's talk about the katsu. I'm using today something called yuba, which is called bean curd sheet. It's also called bean curd skin, available typically at Asian grocery stores. This is fresh frozen. You can buy this in the freezer section of most Asian grocery stores. And this one's folded up in such a way that it's almost like, you know, I don't know, a piece of, I'm not gonna say, but you know what I'm talking about. So this is what we're gonna use, but you can also use this kind. If you use this, it's a little drier. And so what you'll have to do is soak it in water for about 5 minutes and then roughly squeeze it and then roll it up or fold it so you get a layer like this, okay? There's a great company called Hodo Soy here in the United States in California that also makes fresh yuba. It's sold refrigerated and it looks like this. So that's another great brand to use. If it's not distributed where you live, an Asian grocery store is where you want to head to get some yuba. For the katsu, we're going to keep it really, really simple. We are just going to add some soy sauce that we're going to be marinating this in, some garlic powder. Not too much, you don't want it too garlicky. All right, so we're just gonna let it marinate for a few minutes. We'll just let that sit, and then we will fry it at the last minute. Now the curry can be made a day ahead of time, 2 days ahead of time, hours ahead of time, and you can fry up the katsu at the last minute right before you serve. I'm gonna check to see if my veggies are tender. Potatoes are pretty tender. I don't want them to be mush. I don't want them to be hard. Okay, so now I'm gonna add the roux. And this should dissolve right away and start thickening the sauce, as you can see. Yes, like a good Japanese curry with a nice thick consistency. Oh, that looks so delicious. Okay, I think this is ready. I'm gonna turn it off and we're gonna start frying the katsu. So you need what I call a 3-dip station. So you need your panko, which is the last thing. You need flour, and you're gonna make some flax egg, which will help the panko and the flour stick. So I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of flaxseed meal. We're gonna add some water and stir it up and let that sit for a minute. It will get goopier over time, sort of like egg. Oil is heating. My 3-dip station, I'm gonna put it in the order that I want it. First goes into the flour, then it goes into the flax egg, and then it goes into my panko. By the way, this is gluten-free panko. This can be completely wheat-free, especially if you use tamari instead of shoyu or soy sauce. The flour combined with the flax egg is what really gets that panko to stick. Okay, I think my oil is hot. I'm gonna start putting these in there. I'm not deep frying, I'm half deep frying. So you can probably do this in the air fryer as well. So when you fry, you wanna make sure the oil is somewhere around 375 degrees, so don't turn it down too low. You want to keep the temperature at a certain range, otherwise it gets oily and greasy rather than crisp and light. Because of the induction burner, just learning how to use it, these are going to be kind of greasy This one, for some reason, the location was different. That will probably be much better. We're gonna have a couple of dud pieces. I think this one's gonna work for the video. I'll at least be able to get one beauty shot of katsu kare. Okay, let's get this plated up. First, we're gonna get the rice. A good pot of Japanese rice must always be fluffed up. So that's what I'm doing. I'm fluffing up my rice. My mother would be horrified if I just went in there and started to scoop. Okay, so I've got my rice. That's gonna go on one side of my bowl. You can do it on a plate as well. I have my curry. Oh, look at that luscious looking curry. And then I'm gonna slice up my katsu and we'll put it on top of the curry. And there is my katsu kare, lovingly called kare raisu, curry rice in Japanese with katsu on top. Okay, I've got to give this a try. It looks so delicious. The katsu alone is so delicious. It's so simple and yet so satisfying. I'm gonna have it with my curry. Typically, Japanese curries can be very mild. This is more of a mild one, so kids can eat this as well. And you know, if you like to go in for the spicy one, go ahead and do that. I mean, it's just perfectly lightly seasoned, which complements beautifully the flavors going on in the curry, which is a combination of slightly spicy with a hint of sweetness from the apple. Oh my God, it's delicious. I mean, this is the equivalent of pizza, mac and cheese, and nuggets all rolled into one. Wow, I could eat this whole plate. This is delicious. I hope you give it a try. Let me know how you like it. Like and subscribe, and I will see you again next time on The Vegan Good Life with Miyoko.